There's a controversy about this movie, Die Hard.
Christmas movie.
Christmas movie or not a Christmas movie?
1000% a Christmas movie.
Okay. I watched it last week for the first time.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I probably watched it back in the day, but it's been so long since I've watched it, I couldn't really remember anything about it.
It is a Christmas action movie.
See, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle.
This one is just Christmas action movie with
shooting.
The body count ratcheted
Yeah.
a few notches.
Yeah.
No one falls from a tower to their death and jingle all the way.
Exactly. But it is a fun movie.
Ho, ho, ho.
Welcome to the Bookish Introverts podcast. Join host Amazon bestselling author Brett Nelson and avid reader Melanie Dyer as they dive in to review books they've read, then chat with the amazing authors behind them. Quiet minds, big bookshelves. You don't want to miss it.
Hey everyone, it's Brett and Melanie. We are back for another book talk today. And today we're discussing A Winter's Dream
by Richard Paul Evans.
Yes. Sorry,
have you read?
Blank.
Yeah. Have you ever read any of his books before? Is this
I have
the first
not.
time? Okay.
First one.
He's a pretty popular author, pretty famous author. So yeah. But it's the first time I've read one of his too. So
yeah, I hadn't read anything by him before. I wasn't familiar with the name. So
yeah.
I'm sorry if you listen to this. I'm not casting aspersions.
Nothing against you, but when there's 8 billion books in the world, it's hard to choose which ones to read next.
It's true.
It really is.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and do the little bio, get out of the way, and then there's some a few things we're going to talk about. So Richard Paul Evans is the #1 best-selling author of The Christmas Box, and I think that one's on sale for Amazon right now for like $2.99. So I think the book we're reading now is too, or at least it was a week or so ago. He has since written 41 consecutive New York Times bestsellers and is one of the few authors in history to have hit both the fiction and nonfiction bestseller lists. Wow. 7 of his movies have been produced into major television productions. There are more than 35 million copies of his books in print worldwide. They've been translated into 22 languages. He's the recipient of numerous awards, including the American Mother's Book Award, the Romantic Times Best Women's Novel of the Year Award, the German Audience Gold Award, blah, blah, blah. We get the picture. He's very awarded. Awards. He's a very awarded. During the spring of '96, he founded the Christmas Box House International, a house for abused and neglected children. He lives in Salt Lake City, Utah, and with his wife Carrie and their 5 children and 2 grandchildren. So he got a very full life.
Quite the family.
Yeah. So as of the time of recording this podcast, we are, count it, 4 days away.
4 days away from Christmas. Yep.
4 days away from
almost here.
Almost here. Have you finished your shopping?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
I haven't. I still have some to do.
Shopping is technically done. Now, that doesn't mean I might not run into something that I see that I'm like, oh, so-and-so. But for all intents and purposes, we're done.
Got to have that. Have you got everything wrapped?
Yes.
See, I haven't even. Yeah. So you're on the spot.
I say my husband is actually the wrapper.
Really?
Yes.
I love to
We
wrap.
learned early on in our marriage that if I wrapped, it usually ended in tears. I get frustrated when I can't do things perfectly the first time around, and wrapping's never been my strong suit. So
you'd rather just not do it?
I don't. If you're a psychiatrist, you can call it first child syndrome or whatever, but I don't deal well with not being able to do something perfect the first time around. And when I can't do it perfect, I tend to give up on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, and I'm not the kind that it doesn't have to be perfect for me. I want it to look good, but I don't stress myself over it.
If it can't be perfect, I'm just like, never mind.
Okay. So let's talk about the gift bag versus gift wrapping. Are you into gift bags?
I love gift bags because I can do them fairly well.
Okay.
But I mean, I also like for presents to be wrapped. too, because there's just something about a present wrapped in pretty paper. And
I absolutely loathe gift bags. It is so lazy.
Now, it takes work to make a gift bag look good. Anyway, you toss something in the bag, and I try to make gift bags look good. I try to make tissue paper pretty and the cover up the thing inside, and you know,
I'm like, when
like so
and to each person their own, not knocking what anyone chooses to do, but when you see a Christmas tree and there's like 14,000 gift bags under the tree, I'm like, okay, where is the fun in that?
A little much. I think there's 3 under ours, or 4.
I guess, in
if everything's in a bag, then even I have a problem with it.
But there's a lot of people, they're like, I'll just throw it in the bag. I'm like, I don't know. I hate that. Gift bags, they're good in moderation, but in general, I just don't want to see it's just, to me, it's lazy, and
I get that.
It's just not fun. Nobody ever said, oh, I loved opening up all my bags for Christmas. They like unwrapping presents.
It's fun to unwrap a present.
It is. It's fun to unwrap a present.
It is.
And to have paper littering the floor, and that's
you do that with a gift bag. That's where the tissue paper comes in.
That's true. You still have the mess, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of gift bags. I very rarely use them.
I understand.
If I give you a gift bag, you'll know you're not one of my favorite people.
If any of Brett's family is listening to this and you get a gift bag this year, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I will. I don't think I don't plan on using gift bags this year. Although for the office Christmas party, I did put it in a gift bag for that.
And now you know.
Because, it's work.
Well, it's easier, and it'll keep people guessing.
Yeah.
What's in it? Because you can put a tiny thing in a big bag, and that's always fun.
Exactly. People take the big bag because they think they're going to get something great, and then they, get something stupid. So, but that's another thing I'm not a fan of. I do not like what's it called? Dirty elephant or
white elephant?
Yeah, is that the one where it's like stupid?
It's gag gifts.
I hate that.
I don't understand that. Why would you spend money on gag gifts?
I don't want a gag gift.
Yeah,
that's just not fun.
Yeah, I don't get the deliberate gag gift thing, but whatever.
Dirty Santa, I can go with, but I don't really even.
That's
like
what we do in our office. Dirty Santa,
and then
you can steal twice.
Yeah, you can steal other people's presents.
That's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't want to do it at your family Christmas party.
No, exactly. But for a fun office party, that's fun.
Yeah.
One year when I worked at the hospital, I may have told this did I tell this on the last Christmas? We had I worked in the surgical pathology department at the hospital, and we had a big Christmas party. Well, they were real big in white elephant gifts. Hate it. And they're like, okay, and the lady that I worked in the office with, she was like, okay, yeah, no one ever does nice gifts. So I made a beautiful Christmas tree, but the base of the Christmas trees was a toilet bowl lid. So the lady opened it, and she was like, oh, this is too nice for a dirty Santa, for a white elephant, and everything. So anyway, so I was like, oh, well, turn around and look at the back. That's the best part. And like when they saw that it was a toilet bowl, they were like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Yeah. So,
that's funny. That's clever.
You can make a toilet bowl look like a fancy wreath. And the last time I talked to her, which was several years after that, she still had it. She still had it and still hung it on her door.
That is funny.
Yeah, she was like, it's too pretty to not, because from the front side, you would never know. That. Yeah. So
I love that because, it's functional.
Yes.
And also funny.
Yeah.
So you can still use it. It's not like,
it's not like you're just going to go home and throw it away.
It's not like a toy reindeer that poops marshmallows or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Who wants that? Yeah. So anyway, it can be fun.
Yeah.
So before we get into the book, I thought it would be fun to discuss what are your go-to movies that you have to watch every year, Christmas movies.
Okay. One of them we've already done. I watched it the other night while I was doing Christmas cards. We did Muppet Christmas Carol is non-negotiable. And
I need to watch that.
Disney has I'm not going to get into it, but there's a version of the movie that has a song cut out. That's not the version we watch. Disney Plus has the version in the extras area. You know, when you click on the movie and it opens the menu and everything. If you go to extras, there is a full version, Muppet Christmas Carol full version that has the song that I love in it. It's Belle's song, and it's cut from the other version, and I'm just like, no, that makes no sense. The scene makes no sense without it. So, Muppet Christmas Carol is a go-to.
So, who plays the Scrooge in Muppet Christmas? Is
Michael
it Kermit?
Caine. Michael Caine.
Like which character? Like one of them? Does one of the Muppets play the Scrooge?
No, Michael Caine plays Scrooge.
I thought the Muppets would play the characters. Oh, okay.
It's a mix. There's Muppet characters.
Okay.
And then there's a few human characters. Michael Caine is the main.
Michael Caine. Is he the one that played an elf?
No. That is...
Who's Michael Caine?
Shoot. Not Scott. James Caan.
James Caan. Yeah, you're right. Okay, Michael Caine played in Miss Congeniality.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Fantastic Scrooge. Favorite version of A Christmas Carol, and by all accounts, the most accurate to the book.
Interesting.
Also,
Interesting that the Muppets would be the most...
Also, according to costume, which I'm a huge period costume person. I love researching and talking about it and reading about it, but according to some costume experts of the time, one of the most period accurate films, a Muppet film.
Go figure.
Listen, y'all, if the Muppets can do it, we're not going to get started. So
Melanie has opinions.
I have issues. Costumes. Muppet Christmas Carol, Home Alone.
Oh,
definite,
quintessential,
absolutely iconic. You got to have Home Alone.
Although once you get past this movie 2,
yeah, I'm not a fan. Past 2, we don't.
Yeah, I don't know why they even wasted their money making all those.
No, if Macaulay Culkin isn't there, I'm not interested.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Home Alone 1 and I like 2 as well. 2 it's a rare sequel that's as good as the first one.
It kind of lives up. Yeah.
I really enjoy The Holiday, although I will watch that any time of the year. I'll watch others too, but The Holiday, I'm just like, with Jude Law and Kate Winslet.
Well, that's kind of one of those movies where Christmas doesn't slap you in the face.
Yeah. It is. It's also the first movie I ever saw Jack Black in. So I was pleasantly surprised. And I love the music in the holiday. The soundtrack's gorgeous.
I've got the soundtrack downloaded on my iPhone. Such a fantastic soundtrack. It is a fantastic soundtrack.
Which is fitting since, Jack Black's character is a composer. So that fits pretty well.
Yeah.
A lot of people love White Christmas, and I love White Christmas because Danny Kaye. But Holiday Inn is actually my favorite Bing Crosby Christmas movie. I watch the black and white. We don't do colorized. We're not communists.
You do watch black and white?
Yes.
Oh, see, I'm not a fan of it. If it's black and white, I'm not watching.
Yeah, we don't do the colorized version because I did not grow up in communist Russia. We don't colorize black and white films. But that was the movie where White Christmas made its debut. The song White Christmas, and it's my favorite version of that song. But it's Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire, and I mean, how can you go wrong? I mean, the dancing, the singing, you've got it all. And it's funny, it's where Holiday Inn takes its name from.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Isn't there a song in there called Holiday Inn or something?
It is. There is actually.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, it covers the whole calendar of.
When I hear Holiday Inn, I just think of the hotel.
From what I read once upon a time, that is where Holiday Inn took its name from. Was that movie? And another older one, which is in color, is Meet Me in St. Louis. Which is another one that covers the whole year, but it is the song. It is the movie where.
Is it I'll Be Home for Christmas?
No. I've gone blank. I'm so ashamed. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Yeah.
That is the debut of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
One of the best Christmas songs ever.
Also a favorite version, and I don't like it when people change the words to hang the shining star upon the... Those aren't the words.
What's the word?
Sing it like Judy Garland sang. Dadgummit. And she actually had to talk them into, because she's singing it to Margaret O'Brien, who's a little girl. If you've never seen the movie, she's probably 10 when they made it. Mm. And Judy Garland, I think, was 20, 21. And the lyrics they gave her, she said, I'm not singing this to this child. They're going to think I'm a monster. You have to change this. This is too depressing. So if you thought the lyrics were depressing, once upon a time, they were worse.
They were worse. Interesting.
But yeah.
I've never thought that was a depressing song. I guess maybe
it's a little sad. It's a little melancholy. But
I guess I just pay attention more to the tune than the words.
Yeah, that is also my favorite version of that song.
Huh. I'll have to listen to her version.
I like Last Holiday with Queen Latifah. That's a fun little comedy.
I watched that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
That's another one that's got a little bit of Christmas in it, but it's not going to reach out and slap you in the face.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it's fun. And I have one that's...
And you can't go wrong with Queen Latifah. The woman is a comic
She's so
genius.
funny.
She is so funny.
So funny.
Yeah. Although she's not as funny. That's more of a serious movie.
It's a little serious, but she does have some funny parts in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, her character in that is a little more serious.
Bringing Down the House with her and Steve Martin is hilarious.
So funny.
I watched that a couple weeks ago too.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. Has nothing to do with Christmas. I'm just honorable mention for Queen Latifah.
There is. I just came out last year. My husband brought this up when I was telling him that I was like, how am I supposed to narrow this down?
Right. It's like there are so many good movies out there. It's hard to narrow it down to a few favorites.
So he said, Journey to Bethlehem. I was like, oh, which that just came out last year. And I really, really like it. Is it? No, it's anytime Roman soldiers break into a dance. No, not really biblically accurate. And I mean, they play around with the story a little bit, but I don't know of a movie out there based on a biblical, story that doesn't play around, because it's a movie. And this one is a musical, and I love the music in it. The singers are amazing. Joel Smallbone for King and Country is in it. Okay. He's the dark-haired brother for King and Country. There you go. He's the dark-haired one.
I don't know what any of them look like.
You don't know For King and Country?
I've heard of them, but I don't.
Yeah. You haven't really seen them.
I don't think I've ever seen them.
I got you.
Yeah.
He plays Herod's son, King Herod's son, and he's a soldier, and Antonio Banderas plays King Herod.
Oh, really?
Choose the scenery up and everything he's in. He's hilarious. And evil.
I'm always
hilariously evil. He's very, very bad. He leaned heavily into the evil King Herod thing. So it's good. I don't know if it's a favorite yet.
I'm always surprised when big name actors play in movies that are biblically based, because, Hollywood is so woke and so anti, anything to do with. So
I think Antonio Banderas heard the words musical King Herod and was like, I am on board. Literally think that's what happened. He's like, please let me play this part.
Please.
I would love to play this part.
That's fun.
But I did have a movie on there, A Dog's Breakfast.
I saw that. I was like, I have never heard of that.
And he would not have. It is very niche. I'm a huge Stargate fan. I think we've covered this before. There's an all the actors in it were on Stargate. It is a Stargate actors. He wrote it, he produced it, he directed it. It's just so bizarre. It's not really suited to, it's a little Canadian. He's a Canadian actor. Mm-hmm. So it might be more of a Canadian sense of humor, but there's so many in-jokes in it that refer to Stargate. I love the movie. It's goofy. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. He's this paranoid guy who thinks his sister's new boyfriend or fiance wants to kill her. It's just bizarre. It's so weird.
It's a movie called The Dog's Breakfast. So you have to kind of expect it's going to be
It's
weird.
a little bit of a dark comedy. He thinks his sister's fiance wants to kill her, so he's like, well, I'm going to kill him first. So the whole movie, he's just trying to kill
Oh my gosh.
It does not work. And then he thinks it's just,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. But yeah, you'd have to, it's not for everyone. But it has a special place in my heart, and it takes place at Christmas.
If you like eclectic movies, maybe you should check that one out.
It's odd. It's odd, but it's fun.
That's funny.
Yeah. So,
have you seen on Amazon Prime? It's an Amazon Prime. Have you like original movie Violent Night? It's got Beverly D'Angelo in it.
No,
I haven't either. But I saw a guy on YouTube talking about it earlier, like a week or two ago, and I never wanted to watch it because I thought it was like a Christmas horror movie, and that really wouldn't be my jam. But he says it's not. So anyway, that might be one I check out and just see if.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah. Surprisingly, I'm Mr. Christmas. I love Christmas. I love Christmas movies. I have never seen National Lampoon's Christmas. I don't think. If I have, it's been so long that I can't remember anything about it.
I have seen it once. It wasn't really a movie that it wasn't a movie I grew up with. I grew up watching all the specials and stuff and a few other movies, and that's the only way I can make this list is I was like, okay, I can't include any of the specials in this. So we'll just have to no Peanuts, no Little Drummer Boy, just send them off over here. They don't exist. I have to do movies.
Yes.
But I watched it for the first time a couple of years ago, and it was funny.
It's funny. Yeah.
It was funny. Some of the, unless you really have a nostalgia for it, some of the 80s comedies are a little goofy.
Yeah.
Unless you grew up with it and have that nostalgic draw to it. And National Lampoon's in itself is already goofy. But it was a fun movie.
And I've watched the regular National Lampoon movies, so it's surprising that I've never watched. Or like I said, if I have, it was when I was young. I don't remember. Yeah, because people that love that movie love that movie.
See, because I'd never seen any of the other National Lampoons, so it surprises me that you've seen others, but you haven't seen the Christmas one.
Yeah. So yeah,
interesting.
So yeah, anything Grinch related. I love the Grinch movies. I'm not real big on goofy movies when it comes to Christmas. Well, really in general, but like I love the Cranks. I love Christmas with the Cranks.
Christmas with the Cranks.
Elf. But
that's a good one.
When I was coming up with my favorites, like I decided to go with the more lesser known ones that people may not have heard of. So One Special Morning. Have you heard of that? It's Julie Andrews and James Garner. It's an old Hallmark movie, and a lot of
I have heard of this one. So One Special Morning and One Special Night.
One Special Night.
One Special Night.
One Special Night. Yeah, I said morning, but yeah,
my mom has seen it. She loves it.
Great. It's one I watch every year. Julie Andrews is a doctor. He is James Garner is like a foreman, like a construction foreman.
It's James Garner. It doesn't matter what he does for a living.
Yeah, it's James Garner.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. Yeah, you need to dig this one out and rewatch it. His wife is in she's in a old person's home. She's got dementia, and Julie Andrews' husband has just died, and so but she still goes to the hospital, and kind of talks to the people that work there and takes them. She takes them a Christmas basket. Well, while she's there, this huge blizzard is blowing in, so she's on her way home. Well, she sees James Garner on the phone trying to get a taxi to take him home. So she offers him a ride. So while she's driving him home, they run off the road, and so they have to they can't get out, so they have to walk and they run across this old cabin, like just out in the middle of nowhere, this quaint little old cabin. Well, they wind up having to spend the night in this cabin, and they get to know each other. It's just a sweet little movie. So
that sounds sweet.
yeah, again, it's kind of one of the, there's some funny moments in it. Of course, again, James Garner. James Garner.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's in it, there's going to be some quips. So, yeah. And again, it's kind of one of those Christmas movies that's not going to smack you in the face with Christmas, but it's there enough that it kind of gives you. So that's one I watch every single year. Another one I like to watch is Angel in the Family. It has Meredith Baxter Birney in it. It's from like the 90s. A lot of the ones. Yeah, a lot of the ones that are on my list, they're like old Hallmark movies that were before Hallmark churned out 40 movies a year, and they're like they all have the same plot, just different actors. There were actually movies that had a little bit of substance to them.
Hallmark Hall of Fame movies on Sunday night.
Yeah,
or Saturday night.
And I love modern day Hallmark movies. Great American Family movies. I'm not knocking them. I watch them, but there is nothing like the 90s Hallmark Hall of Fame movies. Yeah. So anyway, so this one, it's a family. Meredith Baxter Birney has died, and so she comes back as an angel and spends like one last Christmas with her family. So it's kind of a tearjerker type great movie. And I haven't watched it yet, but you can watch that one and One Special Night. You can watch both of those on YouTube. So Silver Bells is another one from the 90s. It has the late Anne Heche and Trevor Donovan. Is it Trevor Donovan? Trevor Donovan? No, not Trevor. Who's the other Donovan? Tate Donovan.
Oh, Tate Donovan.
Tate Donovan. Yeah, it's got them in it. They own a Christmas tree farm. Tate Donovan's he's a widower, and he's got 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and they live in Nova Scotia, and they have a tree farm. And so every year they go to New York City and set up a tree lot in New York City. And there's this lady that walks by. She's Anne Heche. She's this real fancy like art gallery person. And every year they try to sell her a Christmas tree. Of course, she, even back in the 90s, she was sort of I'm too busy for Christmas. I'm too, I've got too much going on to concern myself with Christmas, which is a huge plot point in any Hallmark movie these days.
Of course.
You always have to have the overachieving, I'm too uptight to have any sort of fun sort of thing. So she's kind of that sort of personality in the movie. And so they trying to get her to buy a Christmas tree. And so the season wraps up, and the oldest boy, he's a photographer. He wants to be a photographer. Well, he runs away from home. He basically, they can't find him in New York City. And so for a whole year, they're trying to find him. Like nobody knows. Well, come to find out, Anne Heche has been sort of helping him along the way. So that's a really good, if you like a melodramatic movie, it's very good. So that's one of my favorite ones. Holiday in Handcuffs. And no,
what movies are you watching?
It's not an S&M movie. It's a ABC Family movie
not appropriate
from back in
Sorry.
It is a fun movie. It's an old ABC Family movie from back in the day.
Oh wow.
I don't think it was in the 90s, probably early 2000s. Melissa Joan Hart and Mario Lopez.
Oh, okay.
That's a fun one.
Okay.
If you like sort of fun. Marky Post plays her mom.
Oh, Marky
Post. Melissa Joan Hart kidnaps Mario Lopez because she wants to take a boy home for Christmas,
as most of us in the 90s would have done.
Yeah. Yeah. So she holds him up with a fake gun and takes him outside, and he's like, yeah, well, when they go outside, he slips on a patch of ice and knocks himself out. So she puts him in handcuffs and blindfolds him and forces him to go home with her for Christmas.
You could not make this today.
Yeah, and it's hilarious. And of course, he's like, "Oh my she kidnapped me. And she tells her family, he's my boyfriend. He's not real good with stuff like this. He likes to make up these silly stories. And this one, he's going to come in and tell you guys that I kidnapped him. So just go along with it. He's just being crazy. And of course he does, like, your daughter's crazy. And her family's like, yeah, she is, Anyway, great movie if you want something to laugh. The last one I wrote down is Undercover Christmas. That's an old one from maybe the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. I'm not. Jamie Gertz and Sean Christian, and Tyne Daly. It's kind of a funny. She plays a waitress, like she witnesses a murder or some crime, so she gets put into protective custody. And so he's this uptight cop, and his family's real rich. I think his dad's like some sort of politician, and he winds up having to take her home for Christmas because his mom calls him and says, you got to come home. He hasn't been home in years. He says, you got to come home. Your dad's in the hospital. He's going to die. You need to come home. Well, he gets home, and guess what? Dad's not in the hospital. It was just a ploy to get him home. And she's like, I'm sorry. I know it was bad, but we just wanted to see you for Christmas. And
I know it was bad.
Yeah. So, and it's Tyne Daly. So that's a really, that's one. Those are all ones that I watch every year. Yeah. And again, it's so hard to pick your favorite Christmas movies because there's so many good ones.
Because I love several of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's some I don't like, but there's
What's
a lot.
one you don't like? Can you think of one right off the top of your head? While you're thinking, my brother's going to kill me for this because this is one of my brother's favorite movies. What's I'll shoot your eye. You're going to shoot your eye out. What's that?
A Christmas Story?
A Christmas Story. Yeah, I think isn't that the one where every Christmas Eve for 24 hours they play it nonstop
on TNT?
On TNT.
Yes,
yeah, my brother loves that movie, and I'm like, I don't think I've seen it since I lived at home, and I'm just not a fan of that movie. To me, it's in the same vein of Roseanne, and I don't like Roseanne either.
You don't like Roseanne?
I don't like that movie, that show. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of one that I just really don't like. I can think of a few that I started to watch. I started to watch The Family Stone.
Oh, that's a good one.
The other day.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
And I don't know if it's my dislike for Sarah Jessica Parker. But I was like, this family is horrible.
They really are.
But she's horrible too. I don't like any of the people in this movie, and I don't think I got through it.
There's a lot of big names in it.
It is. It's like an
Sarah
all-star
Jessica,
cast.
Diane Keaton.
She's the only one that I really, in general, don't like to watch in anything. I don't like Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah. She's not one.
But yeah, everyone else. You have Diane Keaton.
Craig T. Nelson.
The
guy that played in My Best Friend's Wedding.
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, Rachel McAdams. Dylan
McDermott. Luke Wilson.
Yeah, so it's an all-star cast.
It's an all-star cast, and I was just like, this is boring.
Yeah. I actually watch it. I usually watch it. But that's one of those movies that you can kind of watch any time of the year because it's Christmas, but it's not in-your-face Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot harder for me to find a Christmas movie I don't like than it is for me to find like
one you just absolutely hate. Well, here's there's a controversy about this movie, and I put a poll out on Facebook, and I got sadly few responses. So
I responded.
You responded. Die Hard.
Christmas movie.
Christmas movie or not a Christmas movie?
1,000% a Christmas movie.
Okay.
And my sister would.
She would agree with you?
Smack me across the face.
Oh, okay. She doesn't think
she does not think it is a Christmas movie. I say it's a Christmas movie.
I watched it last week for the first time.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, I probably watched it back in the day, but again, it's been so long since I've watched it, I couldn't really remember anything about it. It is a Christmas action movie. See, I'm kind of somewhere in the middle.
See, I think Jingle All the Way is a Christmas action movie.
Love Jingle All the Way.
This one is just Christmas action movie with shooting, the body count ratcheted
Yeah.
a few
Yeah.
extra notches.
Yeah.
No one falls from a tower to their death and Jingle All the Way.
Exactly. But it is a fun movie. Die Hard.
Yes.
I'm not sure that I would go so far as to classify it as a Christmas movie.
I would.
But yeah, it was good. So you think it's a Christmas movie?
I watched it for the first time. Now, I'd heard the debate and I was like, I don't have an opinion because I'd never seen it. And I watched it for the first time 2 or 3 years ago. They re-released it in theaters and I was like, now
that would
is
be
my
fun
chance
to see in the movies.
This is my chance. So I got to see it for the first time in a movie theater. And when it was over, that was the question I was asked. I was like, oh, it's a Christmas movie. It's absolutely a Christmas movie. There's Christmas decorations. There's a Christmas party. The guy downstairs in the limo, who's oblivious to everything going on for 3/4 of the movie,
the scene
is
where
rocking
he
the Christmas
punches
music.
the guy was hilarious.
Yes.
That cracked me up.
Yes.
He was so proud of himself for punching.
He's cuddling with a stuffed bear, rocking out to Christmas music. There's Christmas music at the party. There's Christmas food at the party. There's a guy that says, ho, ho, ho on his shirt. And if the composer, this is my rule now, if the film's composer works Christmas music into the soundtrack, it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
They don't do that for a non-Christmas movie. Why would you do that for a non-Christmas movie? So I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what Bruce Willis says. It's a Christmas movie.
And I'm just saying, Bruce Willis is the best.
I adore Bruce Willis.
He's fantastic.
Moonlighting was what I saw him in for the first time.
Is that the one with Cher in it?
No, Sybil.
Sybil, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Sybil Shepherd. That was a TV show back in the day.
Yeah.
And he was so funny. So I couldn't understand. I didn't understand the controversy about him being in Die Hard because people didn't want him in it.
Really?
The guy from Moonlighting? Isn't he like funny?
Now, that was before he was like mega movie star, wasn't
I mean, his stars shot up through the roof with Moonlighting.
Okay.
But he was not an action star. He was a comedy. A TV
Little
comedy.
did they know. I mean, like, hello, Armageddon.
Yeah.
Best movie on the planet.
And that was back in the day when there was a clear delineation between TV actors and movie actors.
Yeah.
You don't have that anymore.
You were at the bottom of your career if you were a movie actor in a TV show.
Movie people did not star in TV shows. They'd show up in a cameo every once in a while, but they did not star in TV shows. And now there's no line. But
if you're paying me $1 million, I'll do it.
Yeah. Much harder for a TV actor to break into and have big success in the movies back then. Clooney did it. And Bruce Willis was one that did it. But they didn't want him. They did not want him.
I mean, who else could have done that?
In an action movie?
Can you imagine anyone else in Die Hard? I mean, I can't imagine anyone else in Die Hard.
Because you needed that comedy to balance out.
Yes. You needed that comedic effect.
Yeah. But Die Hard, Christmas movie. Sorry.
Yeah. All right.
Ding dong, your opinion is wrong.
Melanie has spoken. So this week, I went to some dinner with some friends of mine.
Yeah.
And it was all couples and then me. So,
it always feels good.
Third wheel times 8,
Yeah.
And so we were having, and it's the people I used to go to church with. And so and they like, I hang out with them quite a bit. And we went out and had dinner. And during the meal, one of the ladies was like, everybody tell their favorite Christmas tradition. I hate stuff like that. Like at Christmas, like, what are you most thankful for? I hate it. I'm thankful for a lot, but I don't want the pressure of trying to come up with, what I'm saying?
I'm thankful for when this little thing is over with.
Exactly. Like literally, like I didn't roll my eyes, but like in my mind, I rolled my eyes when she said that because I was like, I don't want to play this. Yeah. So anyway, everybody goes around the table and they're like, oh, my favorite tradition is taking my kids to the angel tree and, and going and buy a gift for an angel or, the whole family sitting in front of the TV, watching Christmas movies in matching pajamas. And then Brett rolled around.
Oh, Lord. What did you do?
You know, on the music station here that plays 24-hour Christmas music.
107.9.
Yeah, Delilah.
Oh, Delilah.
Delilah. She's a nationally syndicated DJ on, so everybody pretty much knows Delilah.
Yeah.
I said, my favorite Christmas tradition is, you know how people call in to the Delilah show during Christmas, and really they do it all year, but especially during Christmas, and they want her to play a song, and they're like, oh, I'm just so in love with him. He's the love of my life. I can't live without him. You know, please play a song to tell him how much I love him. You know,
listened to too much Delilah.
I know, yeah. Well, one of my favorite things is just like, because Delilah, you know, she usually goes, oh, well, that's so sweet. Thank you for telling us that story. How long have you guys been together? 3 months. 3 months? Really? Call us in 3 years when you can't stand to look at each other and you're probably not even still married. That's the story I want to hear.
You sit there in MST3K Delilah.
I do. I mock all the stupid people that call Delilah and talk about how in love with they've been for the last 3 months. Well, so anyway, I kind of told that story and the people were like, no wonder you're still single.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, but nobody was surprised. That's my favorite tradition. I was like, yes, I mercilessly mock people that call the Delilah
I'm not surprised.
show. That's
I'm a little concerned. I'm not surprised.
Anyway, well, you think we ought to get into the book since that's why people are here?
I suppose so.
I suppose so. I've just been kind of fun talking about all this fun little stuff.
It's fun.
Yeah. So we read A Winter Dream by Richard Paul Evans.
Yes.
And I picked this book. I thought it was an interesting, first of all, one of the reasons why I picked this book was because it was a kind of a short read.
Yeah.
Because it's Christmas season and
we're busy.
We were busy. You know, we've got Christmas movies to watch.
I read this Thursday night.
You read it in one night. See, I didn't read it in one night.
My confession.
Really? This doesn't surprise me with you, you know, but I'm like, we got Christmas stuff to do. We got Christmas shopping to do. I don't have time to read a 400-page book, you know? So, and I also thought it was an interesting concept because it's a modern retelling of Joseph in the Bible.
Yes.
So I was like, and I think I mentioned this in the last
Old
podcast.
Testament Joseph.
Old Testament Joseph, yeah. And I think I mentioned this in the last podcast, but I have read 6 Christmas books this Christmas season, and 4 of the 6 were like total duds. And I'm like, I'm over Christmas books. I do not want to risk another dud. So I kind of wanted something that maybe had a little bit of Christmas, or maybe that was more winter focused, rather than just a Christmas read. And this totally fit the bill. Yeah. I loved the book. So take us into it.
So, Joseph, JJ Jacobson, which I appreciated the name.
Yeah.
He is the 12th of 13. You know, if you know that's also what made this an easy read. We know the story.
Yeah.
He's the 12th of 13 children, which I liked that they included the sister. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm sure there were more sisters, but there was only one that we knew about in the Bible, and it was Dinah, wasn't it?
Dinah.
Mm-hmm. In this book, her name is Diana. Yeah. Pretty much all the other names are the same. Rupert.
Simon.
That's Reuben. It's Reuben in the Bible, isn't it?
Yeah. He did change some of the names.
Yeah. Simon, Benjamin, Joseph.
Yeah.
We're not going to go through all of them.
Yeah. If you know the story, you know. Yeah.
Anyway, 13 kids, 12 boys, 1 girl. He's 29 years old, Joseph. Mm-hmm. His father, whose name is Israel.
Everybody calls him Izzy.
That keeps his name from being Jacob Jacobson.
Yes.
You know.
Got to have a little bit of...
He is the head of an advertising agency, and all the kids work at this advertising agency. Yeah. So that's where you...
And it's kind of a regional...
Yes, it's regional. This is in Colorado and Denver. Mm-hmm. So that's where you set up the conflict. It's not just, they're also competing at a career level, which you're just asking for trouble.
I start saying, among siblings, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
And if you've read the Bible version, you know there's real trouble.
Yeah, I mean, trouble's coming.
Yeah,
you just don't know exactly how it's coming. You're not going to sell someone into slavery.
Yeah, which I was like, I wonder how he's going to do this in a modern day setting. Because again, you're not going to sell anyone into slavery in modern day. So I was really excited to see how he was going to weave that story in a modern day way.
Yeah. And his father has been married 4 times. That's how they, because, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You could, but it would be a really weird book.
Yeah.
And they changed a couple of the names there, which I thought he did a good job with. But he is still married to Joseph and Benjamin's mother. And, he calls her the love of his life and all this stuff. So that doesn't really help the feelings.
He needs to call Delilah.
He does. He needs to call Delilah. So they're all in a meeting with a potential client, an important potential client. And all the brothers pitch their ideas, or at least 3 of them do, and they are not impressed.
Crickets. Nobody
at all. And so,
a lot of the brothers have a little bit of animosity toward Joseph because he is clearly Dad's favorite.
And he knows he's his dad's favorite.
Yeah.
And he wishes his dad wouldn't show
favoritism. Yeah.
Favoritism, because it makes his life difficult.
It does, especially when they're all stepbrothers and sisters, and they only like you because they have to.
Yeah. So they finally asked Joseph to pitch an idea that Simon had shot down earlier, just sort of whatever. And when he pitches it, the people like it and are like, well, why'd you hold out on us this long? So then, of course, his father's all proud of him and decides
it's for a bank. It's a for a
bank. Yes. So he decides we're going to have a celebratory dinner for getting this account, and at the dinner, tells about a dream that Joseph had told him about. He was walking through, and here's where the dreams come in, walking through a snow-covered forest, a dark snow-covered forest, and comes upon a tree covered in lights, like a Christmas tree. And then there's 11 other trees around it, and a snowstorm whites out the forest except for the lights on the tree. And when morning comes, the 11 trees were bowed towards the tree's light.
Yeah.
So at this dinner, his father decides, what a great time to share this story. No.
If you want to make my brothers hate me, yes, tell that story.
And if that wasn't enough, he also decides his father was a flying ace. He was a pilot in Vietnam.
In the Navy.
And he has this
Navy
bomber jacket. I think Navy. Yeah. He has this bomber jacket that, all the boys.
So instead of a coat of many colors, it's a bomber jacket.
Yes.
Because what guy wants a coat of many colors in modern day?
Yeah. So at this dinner.
But the patches have.
Yeah, the patches.
That's where
all the colorful patches.
All the colors,
At this dinner, he gives the jacket to Joseph. And so everyone's mad. Simon leaves immediately.
Yeah, and he lays it on thick about how this is a prophetic dream, and
Yeah. And Joseph has a love interest in Denver. Her name is Ashley, and I bring this up. She's kind of important to the plot, but
she's kind of an unlikable person.
I bring this up because they've been going out 3 years. I'm bringing up my notes. Ashley gets described. She has, long black hair, and she's a model, so she's very beautiful. They met on an ad shoot, and I'm sorry. This is a case of a man. I don't mean any disrespect. Do not describe a woman this way. Windex blue eyes. What is that? No. No.
Yeah.
No woman wants.
They do not want their physical attributes described using cleaning products.
You're clearly a better writer than me because I don't have any published books, and you probably don't care what I think of your descriptions of women, but find something else that's blue. I'm begging you. Don't use Wintex. I mean, it was visceral, but it wasn't very poetic.
Yeah.
I understood.
I remember reading that, so that didn't even stick out to me.
It stuck out to me. But so obviously the brothers are not happy with this, and Joseph's making plans to maybe propose to I've already forgotten her name.
Ashley.
She has Windex blue eyes though. Ashley.
Miss
Yeah.
Windex. Ashley. Yeah.
So Joseph takes his father and mother to the airport the next day because they're going on a trip. So he takes them in to the airport before going into work. And there's a whole big thing about the blue Mustang in the book, but it doesn't really, we never really come back. I thought it was.
It's just like, yeah. And I had never heard of the blue Mustang. Apparently, it's a very popular structure at the airport in Denver.
Yes.
And what little bit of research I did, because I did look it up to see if that was just something he made up or if that was, and it's actually a real thing.
No, it's a thing.
And apparently, the people in Denver hate it, or at least they did at the time. Like there's there's like a Facebook page to like get rid of the blue, and they have like real funny names. For like the blue demon.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Demon Messin, zombie horse. Lucifer. Lucifer's a good one.
Lucifer. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a gorgeous statue.
It's an interesting looking
statue. I don't care for the eyes, but I think the
glow.
statue itself is amazing.
Well, do you know the story behind the statue? The sculptor died.
I did know that. Yes.
The horse's head fell on him and crushed him.
It's a very Italian way to die.
Yes, for sure. So, yeah.
Which is sad.
I feel like the Lucifer kind of makes sense because the structure literally killed its creator.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like my nose. So he goes on into work and gets a call that his brother wants to see him. So he goes in.
And I'm just saying, if that was me, if this was me working there, I'd be like, if my brother wants to see me, he can come and see me. How dare you summon me?
Yeah. So they all want to see him in the conference room. And when they get there, he finds out that Ben embezzled $36,000 from the company 6 months ago.
And Ben is Joseph's
little brother. He's
like they're blood brothers. They're not step brothers.
Yes,
they're the two that are actual brothers.
Yeah, Izzy and Rachel's other son, youngest son.
Yeah.
So, because the company is publicly traded, it's a criminal activity. I mean, it's a criminal activity anyway, but it's not like it can be.
You can't push it under the rug because you're a family-owned business and you can get away with it.
Yeah, but they're willing to push it under the rug.
If they get their way.
If Joseph quits the firm and moves out of town.
Yeah.
And does not contact his parents and does not contact anyone in the family anymore. They want him gone.
Yeah.
So this is how they do the sold into slavery thing. So they've already made a contact at a firm in Chicago and they are sending him there.
And the firm in the book is an actual firm in real life.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I looked it up. Yeah. I can't remember what the name of it.
I mean, they were talking about all these ad campaigns that they've done. So I wondered.
Yeah, it's actually, and they mentioned that the firm is on Wacker Drive. That's actually where the firm is located. So so he actually used a real firm.
So the other part of the deal is that Joseph can't take his coat with him. He has to leave his coat behind, which is just going to seem like more of an insult to his father.
Exactly.
So he goes to tell his girlfriend that he's leaving, and she tells him she's not going with him. And then he says, "Well, I thought we were going to get married." And she's like, "I'm not. I don't want to get married." So
yeah,
a few punches to the gut Joseph has taken today.
Not the best day in history.
No. So he flies out for Chicago, gets to the apartment, which is in a mostly Polish neighborhood, I believe.
And it's a crummy apartment
compared
to what he's used to.
Yes, compared to what he's used to. Obviously, his father is wealthy with this ad agency, and I don't know if he paid for Joseph's apartment or if it was just,
I'm not sure.
Family-owned business. He's going to get a decent salary, I would think, especially since he's the favorite.
Yeah.
So he's broken up with his girlfriend. He's lost his family. And now he's at this new firm. He doesn't know anyone. He's in this crummy apartment. It's in Chicago, which is bad enough.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Chicago.
No.
So he can't sleep. He goes for a walk and goes to a diner down the road and meets April. A waitress.
I like
the
April.
Diner. I like it.
Yeah.
I like April too.
He dodged a bullet when Ashley treated him the way. Yeah.
Yes. He dodged a bullet.
Of course, when you're in that situation, you get your heart broken. So but yeah.
Yeah. He dodged a bullet.
He dodged a bullet.
So they talk, and she learns he's new in town and offers to show him around, which is nice of her.
But it's not a date. It's
not a date. It's a tour.
It's a tour.
So he does some introspection. He's hoping Ben doesn't fess up to his father, because Ben pretty much has an idea of what's going on. Although Joseph didn't tell him outright, but he kind of has a glimmer of what has happened. You're going to have to do a whole lot of editing. I cannot get comfortable with my mic this time around. I don't know what the deal is. There. I'm very fidgety today, you guys. Brett's cursing me under his breath right now for messing with the microphone so much.
It's all right.
So he gets to work and he meets Lynn or Leonard or...
Yeah, Leonard.
Lenny, if
they call him Lynn.
If you're a video game player like me. No one who listens to this would get that. But Lynn tells him not to be ambitious because the rest of the writers will hate him and offer him up to the boss as a sacrificial lamb. So they get called in to pitch ad ideas to a client. Don't remember the client. I guess it doesn't particularly matter, but
yeah, I can't remember.
The big boss wants it, so their team leader is like, okay, come on. And Jacob brings something up that everyone likes, and then the client likes it, and Jacob gets promoted and is put in charge of the account. And while doing that, Leonard
had told him before he even started. Leonard was like, he said, here's a little advice. Don't be too ambitious on the job because the rest of the writers will hate you and they'll offer you up to the boss as a sacrificial lamb.
Yep.
Well, what's the first thing JJ does? He goes in and blows everyone away, gets promoted, and Lynn gets demoted. So JJ's in hot duty already from the very beginning.
So, he has his thing with April. He has his tour with April. And gets to see a lot of Chicago and gets to know her. And there's some things about her that he's like, weird.
She's kind of mysterious.
Weird, but okay.
Yeah.
And I kind of had an inkling what was going on here at this point, but it didn't get revealed till later in the book. But they have a nice time together, and he's like, she's really, really pretty, and she's really, really sweet. She has a kind heart and all this stuff. And yeah, we like April.
Yeah, we like it.
So there's a Christmas party that the big boss gives. Potts. Peter Potts.
Not to be confused with Peter Parker.
No. If you're familiar at all with the Bible story, then you know where this is going. Because Peter Potts is obviously Potiphar.
Yeah.
Yes. Peter's girlfriend, Brandy, who is probably like half his age.
She's a gold digger.
Very forward. She comes on to JJ in the coat room.
Well, and she even flirted with him.
Yeah, she's flirted with him before. So he's been very...
keep her distance from Brandy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Brandy with an eye, so you know what kind of person she is.
Yeah, you got to watch those Brandies with an eye.
If you're listening and you're a Brandy with an eye, you're probably a delightful person. We do not hold anything against you, but in this concept, the name fit the person.
Yeah. So she comes on to JJ in the coat room when it's just the two of them, and then when Peter walks in, she rips her dress, and you know, if you know the Bible, you know where this is going.
Story. Yeah.
So when JJ goes to work on Monday, Peter calls him in and says, "You got to resign, or you're going to transfer to the New York office.
How dare you come on to my girlfriend?"
So JJ chooses the New York office.
Now, and in the New York office, this office is like where the deplorables go to die.
Yes.
Like if you've had any sort of indiscretion, you're not fired. You just go to this, and basically you do the scummy work that nobody else wants to do.
Yeah.
For the piddly little accounts.
Yeah.
And
And in the meantime, before the Christmas party, he had finally confronted, because it's been like almost a year at this point.
Yeah. The book progresses pretty quickly. Like from one chapter to the next, it could be several months.
Yeah. Just before the Christmas party, a week before the Christmas party, he had finally managed to get April to tell him what the secret was that she was keeping. And the secret was, which I called it, she was, well, the note I made was she's in a cult. Or wasn't a cult, because she was from Utah, the southern portion of Utah.
Yeah.
And I mean, everything I know, the southern portion of Utah is the portion that borders. My geography lessons are failing me. Is it Nevada or Arizona?
I have no idea. My geography is as bad as yours.
Anyway, I know there is a FLDS. The Warren Jeffs cult is near the southern border of Utah. It's not in Utah, but there's a settlement there.
When I think of Utah, I just think of Footloose.
That's not what I think of. So I figured, and sure enough, she doesn't say she's in a cult. She does say that she is in a fundamentalist. The book is very clear that it is a fundamentalist sect of the Mormon religion. She's very quick to say, no, Mormons do not practice polygamy, but she is the 4th out of 5 wives of a man that lives in Utah. She ran away because his 5th wife pretty much just wrapped him around her finger, and the other wives are being abused, and she abuses them. And so April ran away, and he needs a while to wrap his head around this. And like a guy does not call her the next day or the day after or the day after that. So she leaves and goes back because she doesn't know what else to do, because she's been in this cult all her life, and she had this chance at happiness and reached out for it, and her heart's been broken, so she's done.
Yeah.
So, Joseph may be the favorite, but he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah. When you got something good, don't flub it up.
So he takes off for New York, and Ashley is not a factor. Or not Ashley, April. April is not a factor at that point. This is the part where there wasn't really romantic element to Joseph's story in the Bible. I mean, obviously, eventually, because he had descendants, there was a romantic element to the story, but not
sometimes you don't need to see the romantic journey.
Yeah. So he gets to the New York office and winds up at a satellite office several blocks down from the main office.
And Lynn, the guy that got demoted because of him, is also there.
Guess who's there?
Yeah. And they're kind of a ragtag band of people in this office. The secretary of the place used to be the secretary of the CEO or somebody.
Yeah,
really,
one of the big guys
high
at the New York office.
Yeah, so they're basically people that have seen better days, but for whatever reason, they've been banished to this little office.
And I thought her reason was funny because she was bad mouthing the CEO of Nintendo, and he was behind her.
That's so my luck. Yeah,
that would be my luck.
This is why you don't talk bad about people, because you know.
Or at least, make sure your back's to a wall and you can see all entry and exit ways.
Yeah.
So they form, even in spite of his relationship with Leonard, they kind of form their own little group, and they have their thing. And several months go by, I think, with all of them in that office.
And in order to keep his skills sharp, he creates ad campaigns. For
copyright and ad campaigns.
For all just to kind of keep his skill, because in this place he's just doing the scum work. So he's not really getting to do anything to challenge himself.
No. So he's just coming up with stuff
random stuff, just to keep himself sharp.
And he tells the girl, Charlene. She comes across his stuff and she's like, "Wow, this is really good stuff." She said, "If I ever get back to Mr. Farrell's, it's either Farrell's or Farrell's."
Yeah.
Well, I would say probably Farrell.
Farrell. Yeah. I pronounced it Farrell in my mind, but I'm a hick, so
could be either one.
It could be either way.
It's clearly supposed to be Farrow.
Yeah.
So she's like, "If I ever get back, I'll make sure he knows about you because these are great."
Yeah.
And so clearly this is supposed to be the equivalent of prison.
Yes.
And Joseph has some dreams, and he finally tells them, because Leonard's like, "Oh, he sees things in his dreams."
Leonard's mocking him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Around
the other people.
Yeah, that's how he got promoted. He was like, "Oh, I dreamed about this the other night, and this is what I dreamed," and that was the pitch. So
yeah.
JJ does admit that he has dreams, and most of them come true. And for Charlene, she had a box with a day planner in it, and he thinks she's going to return to her former position.
Mm-hmm.
For Bryce, he had a box that contained an ink pen and an ink refill, and he said he thought Bryce would return to his position as a senior copywriter.
Mm-hmm.
And in the dream about Leonard's box had broken earthenware pots. Yes. And JJ didn't understand what that one meant. And Leonard's like, "I'm going to die."
He's so melodramatic.
And JJ's like, but even I was like, I don't know what that means. Because, in the original story, one of them dies.
So
it's like, are we going there with this? Like, seems extreme. So
clearly, Leonard may have known the biblical,
possibly.
He never says that, No. It's like, it's funny that he jumped to the conclusion that he was going to die. So it makes you wonder if somewhere along the way, Leonard knew the biblical story of Joseph.
So Charlene gets a call and is shortly after this, and is sent back to her position as Mr. Farrell's assistant. Because he can't stand the one that he replaced her with. So she goes back, and then Bryce goes back.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's just
him and Leonard.
And a few months go by, a few more months, and then JJ gets a call from Charlene, and she tells him that her boss wants to meet with him because she showed him his portfolio. So now he gets a promotion, and his salary quadruples, and within a year
he's a fat cat.
Yeah. So around Thanksgiving, the boss, Farrell, calls JJ into the office and tells him he's been promoted to the CEO of the worldwide business, and that with him leaving, no longer a place for JJ at the New York agency. And so he offers JJ a job as chief creative officer with the worldwide agency back in Chicago, because that's where their worldwide headquarters are. And so they're back to Chicago to the Leo Burnett International offices.
Which is his family's ad agency. Yeah.
And
we're back to the beginning.
Yes. And that's when we find out there are some stories told to the head of operations at the Chicago office, and that's when they find out just exactly why JJ got sent to New York in the first place. And so Peter Potts gets sent to the New York office, but not the New York office. He gets sent to the satellite office, and Leonard is his boss.
Yes.
And so that's what the broken earthenware pots signifies. So I was glad that Leonard didn't die. He got on my nerves, but I was like, I don't think we need to kill him just for being annoying. So 2 weeks after the transition, his boss tells him they are looking into acquiring Jacobson Advertising in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
they're kind of having some financial difficulties.
Yes, they are having financial difficulties, and that's how we get into the ending. Yeah, which I mean, I'm assuming we pretty much all know.
Anybody that knows the story of Joseph knows. Yeah,
and it was a simple read. He did eventually find out April. I'll throw that in because that's not in the Bible. But yeah, it was an easy read.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Yes. Anyone who wasn't familiar, and we talked about this before, anyone who wasn't familiar with the Bible story would probably want to do a little more introspection. Mm-hmm. But we know the story.
Yeah.
Grew up here.
We grew up with here.
We've heard it for over 40 years. The story.
Yeah,
we're familiar. But yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah, and it's a good story of forgiveness because he goes back to his because he basically in the biblical version there's a famine going on, and so and his brothers he winds up being Joseph is really high up in the king's.
Well, yeah, he's Pharaoh's right hand.
Yeah, so he winds up giving food rations to the family, and they don't even know who he is.
No.
And the same thing sort of happens in the book,
he's
because
changed.
basically he has the option to either he can say the word and say no, we're not going to buy this company. We're going to let him,
leave him twisting in the wind.
Leave him twisting in the wind. So there, but he decides, and we won't give any major spoilers.
No.
Again, if you know the story, where it's going to go. But I thought it was very cool the way he spun the story in a way that made it modern. Because this is the first.
It was interesting the way he changed some things.
Yeah, but as you read, even though it was modern, you could still see the original biblical story in it. So I love that. This was my first time to read a retelling. So it was good. Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. So that it was fun. If you guys just want a good non-Christmas, like I said, there are nods to Christmas in it, but if you want like something that doesn't really smack you in the face with Christmas, and you want something that's
Christmas light.
Yes, and just has a little bit, and even though this was a biblical retelling, mm-hmm. there really wasn't a lot of Christian themes in it. I mean, there was a definite forgiveness arc in it, because Joseph could have, taken his revenge on his family, but he didn't, in the end. So highly recommend it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good book.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say on the matter?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Well, I guess we will get off here and end this for now because it's 4 days before Christmas and we have still got a lot to do.
So much to
do, and so little time to do it.
True.
So, coming up in the next episode, we're finally going to do something a little bit different.
Yes, we are.
I'm kind of excited to do it. We're going to have our first reader on with us.
We will.
Our friend Jessica is going to come on, and from the very beginning, from the time Melanie and I,
Friend,
she's a mutual friend, yeah, and
I'm joking.
Yeah, we're joking. We told Jessica from the time we told Jessica that we were doing the podcast together.
Yes.
She was like, "Oh my gosh, if you guys ever read this book, I want to come on and talk about it with you guys."
She loves this book. I've never read it. I kind of know the story because I've seen clips. It was made into a movie. I've seen clips of the movie.
Yeah.
As I'm scrolling through TikTok, but I've never read the book and I've never seen the movie, so I don't know the full.
Yeah. Yeah. When we almost did this book earlier in the beginning as we were starting the podcast. But at the time we were thinking about doing it, we had a real short amount of time before we needed to get our first podcast episode posted.
And it's a fairly long book.
And it's a long book. Yeah. So we decided not to go with it. And for some reason we just kept putting it off. And but in all fairness, this is not a book that I'm excited about reading. This is so not the kind of book I would read.
It's historical. It's a romance.
Yes. Yeah. So like I honestly have not been excited to pick up this book. Yeah. But we are finally going to do it. And it's Francine Rivers' Redeeming Love.
Redeeming Love.
Yeah. And it's I've already started it.
We figured having time off from work was a good time just because we'd have more time.
Which totally has turned out not to be the case. But
this will be over at some point.
There's so much on. Yeah. So anyway, our next one is, and this is a very popular book.
Yes.
Among readers of Christian fiction. It's kind of like Karen Kingsbury. You cannot have a Christian fiction podcast and not read a Karen Kingsbury book or Francine Rivers.
True.
But this is not my first Francine Rivers book.
Is it not? I don't think I've read one by her.
Last year, I read my first Francine Rivers book, Masterpiece. I think Masterpiece is her newest book, one of her newest books. And I did read it last year, and it was pretty good. But I'm in about chapter 10 of Redeeming Love, and she's a very good writer. She's got a very good writing style, so I'm enjoying it so far. So I'm surprised. We won't say any more about it because we want to save all that for the next podcast. So, but for those of you that love the book, love the Redeeming Love book, or if you've just never read it and are interested in what it's about, tune in. Yeah,
that'll be fun.
Yep. You want to take us out?
3 instead of 2.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, and I think never mind. I'm not going to say that. We'll save it for the next one. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So, if you guys want to follow us, we're on Facebook. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube as Bookish Introverts podcast. This is our last podcast of the year, so it's been a fun year so far. I've enjoyed it.
It has,
It's been fun. We're glad you guys have been on the journey with us. We hope you're enjoying it as much as we are. So,
and we hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Yes,
and a Happy New Year.
Have a Merry Christmas. The next time you hear from us, the holidays will be a sad memory.
Holidays will be done.
They will be a memory. Yes. Also. Yeah. All right. You guys take care and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Bookish Introverts podcast, where together we explore the worlds within the pages. Until next time, stay bookish.